they're this young dynamic couple. I used to surf with Jide when he was 16. I'm a lot older than that, but I met him surfing out in Rockaway.
Don't worry. We're all the ages that we want to be.
And it's just been really exciting to see him like move through high school into college, and he was taking some accounting classes because he had this vision to own his own restaurant. And then in the pandemic, somebody pulled out and he was able to get a brick and mortar space in this iconic location. He's in the former Rockaway Taco spot. Okay. If anybody ever to Rockaway Taco. But yeah, they have like they both have great social media followings, and I'm trying to leverage everything they already have.
What's the name of the restaurant?
The Cradle NYC. Okay. It may be listed as Cradle LLC. They started their website long before I got in the picture.
Okay.
It tried to explain how when you put everything lowercase and smash it together, Google doesn't know that that's 3 or 4 words.
Yeah.
How about everybody else? What are they using Mailchimp or something like that for?
Well, for me personally, for my business, I use Mailchimp, but my clients, they use everything from Constant Contact to Eloqua to Salsa to like everybody has their own platform company that they prefer.
Which is the way it should be. Yep. Everybody needs the one that works with their brains, because then they'll use it. If you don't use the one that works with your brain, then it won't get used. So an inactive email list is like having no email list. So it doesn't matter which platform you use. If you're not going to use it, you need to get a platform that you're going to use. There's a lot of platforms that I'm not a fan of. And I just told somebody to go back to that platform because that's the one they know. And dude, if you know it, use it. It's all my favorite. I wouldn't use it, but if you know it, use it, because at least the emails will get out there.
Yeah,
that's the important part.
That's awesome.
If someone asks you to recommend one, then it's good to know something about them. I don't know anything about them, so.
Well, and it depends on
how to recommend it and why.
And what are you looking at it for?
Oh,
are you a blogger? Are you a restaurant? What kind of business is it for?
It's just for general knowledge right now. I don't have anyone asking me specifically, but my experience has been in general with people who are new to making websites or setting up something online. They think I would know, but I don't. So I should learn.
And Mailchimp is a very good entrance. It's super good entrance software because of all the email softwares that are out there. It's probably one of the easier ones to use, even though it's not easy to use. So it's just because they keep on bolting things on Mailchimp.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because Mailchimp, I've been using it for many years when they had the chimp with the arm. That if you made it too wide, the arm would pop off and there was a little blood spilling. Do you remember that?
What?
I hadn't thought about that for a long time. That was like way back at the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah, it was.
Mailchimp is not that. Yeah, Mailchimp is not that progressive in that way now. They try to be nicer to everybody now and not have any gross body parts.
But the funny part was it didn't look gross. It's like we would play with it all day long. It's like, oh no, that's back and forth. It was just hilarious because it was a cartoon.
Yeah, I remember those days. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that for a long time.
I don't know, MailChimp doesn't do it anymore, but I liked when you were right before you're going to send the email and it was like you were trying to press the button and then all the sweat was coming down, like you were really nervous.
That's probably on the mobile app now because they took the high five off.
Yeah, I like the high
and
five.
Everybody's complaining. I'm on a Slack channel with a bunch of Mailchimp partners and we're all like, no, bring back the high five.
Yeah, I love that.
They don't care about a basketball.
Yeah, no, it's no good.
Yeah.
But the high five arm was just so well done too.
Funny.
Like the animation with that arm that bends up, you know, like just seeing that every time. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys do any payroll, but there's this payroll service called Gusto.
Mm-hmm.
And Gusto has the little pig walking across the screen. And it just makes you, seeing that makes you happy to be doing something like payroll, which is horrible to do.
Yeah, it's like Mailchimp has a ton of like little Easter eggs that they hide everywhere. So if you click on something, you get something that you're not supposed to, and you click on it, sometimes you get really cool things. Like they have a bunch of games you can play inside of Mailchimp.
Really?
And
I have to go on
a ton of games.
now.
Is that the paid feature or is it the
No. It's on the platform.
It's on the platform.
It doesn't matter if it's And if you if get that error message, like if there's like a deer with its head underneath the ground.
Oh yeah.
So if you click on that, you'll see the pets of Mailchimp, and there's like 100 different pets that they have in there. And you just you can keep on clicking it. There's dogs and cats and guinea pigs and hamsters. I mean, it's so awesome.
Oh God, it's great.
Yeah.
And see, that makes it. I mean, it's my favorite platform, and that kind of makes it that you want to go back there. And I think it's one of the few that doesn't force you into a subscription. Like you have the pay as you go option where you don't have to have the logo.
Yeah, and they're trying to get rid of that. So
they are, but people love it, you know. That's one of the areas where they have an edge. Like that's one
I remember I signed up for Mailchimp when it was like first out there, and I remember it had like their promos now and forever free. So I always wonder, I mean, I do see it taking away a little bit each time from it's my own personal Mailchimp account, and not for like clients and stuff. And I'm like,
your account shouldn't be changing at all. It should be the same account that you had. I mean, you should have the same abilities.
Yeah, no, but they do. Like I don't have that optimize for for it to choose which time to send it.
Yeah, but that was always a paid feature.
No, I used to have that for free.
No, I think it's still there, but it's called something else.
Yeah, it's a paid feature now, but I used to have it under my free account.
Yeah, it's been a paid feature for probably 11 years.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, that just goes to show you how old our Mailchimp accounts are. I know. For free too.
This is a great conversation that I want us to.
And it's also limited the number of like
continue with.
You only can now have only like 2 or 3 audience lists. You can't add any more.
Right. So yes, they did minimize audiences, but the object is you're not supposed to use many audiences. You're supposed to use one. There's it's a shift in mindset with Mailchimp. Like on Constant Contact, you can have as many lists as you want to, and it's in your account, and you can send out one email to all those lists. But in Mailchimp, one audience equals a Constant Contact account. Was that me?
What was that? A man in the room.
Yes, that's my computer.
Okay, good.
The only guy.
I was like, wait, what? That's not my Siri. So it's just a mindset. change. Yes. And they're trying to force everybody to have that mindset change. And it's hard. I have one client that has 173 lists. So it's just really hard.
Well, Mailchimp wants to do it with the tags, right?
And groups. So tags and groups are completely different. We may never even get to my talk.
Yes, we may not ever get to your talk. I am so glad you got that.
No, honestly, this is way more important. If you have Mailchimp, knowing groups and tags is way more important than anything I have to say, because you can Google subscription forms, right? And you're going to figure out subscription forms, but tags and groups and segmentation.
Oh, segments,
There's so much nuance that even if you read it and you read 2 or 3 different ones, you may not get the nuances of it.
So how about we switch the order of today then, Amy, because I feel like, because you think this is so important and there's so many questions, how about we let you answer questions first and have the conversation and then do the presentation after? What do you think about that?
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's continue on.
And I can
wait, Westina, we have to, talk about our sponsor and everything. Don't forget that.
Okay. How about I bring up our sponsor after the conversation and before you present, Amy? What do you think about that?
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
I think it's the same sponsor that me. Am I sponsored by the same people you guys are sponsored by?
You're sponsored by SiteGround, and Kinsta sponsored Armida. Yes, both phenomenal companies.
Awesome.
So
yes, and I have some other branding, so that's good.
Awesome. So let's continue on, and then let's say in 15 minutes or so we'll start the actual presentation. But let's keep having this great conversation. I'll introduce Kinsta afterwards. Thank you, Meryl. She's so right.
Well, we got to remember our sponsors. That's important. So go ahead.
Okay, so Susie, right?
Yes.
You were the one who, okay. So there are groups and there are tags. And Susie, it sounds like you have a lot of experience with Mailchimp. And Mailchimp instituted tags within the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
It's like, time warp for me. But we had tags before. We just didn't call them tags. They were called static segments.
Right.
And they changed because they were dynamic, which I can use a little bit different languaging with you guys because you understand dynamic from the side of a website as opposed to somebody who doesn't have any experience at all. They don't know what dynamic is. So hopefully, if you don't understand it, let me know in the chat. I'll keep my eyeballs open and I will explain a little bit more in detail. So tags are, want to know about, okay, Avis, awesome. Okay, so tags are an organizational structure for your audience in Mailchimp. Groups are an organizational structure for your audience in Mailchimp. Tags can only be used by you. Nobody else can see them but you. You can add tags onto a record, onto an email address. You can add tags manually by going into Mailchimp and adding a tag on a record, or some of the form makers that we're going to talk about will allow you to add tags. Gravity Forms is really good about adding tags. Mailmunch is really good about adding tags, the reason why I like them. But not all form makers add tags. Most form makers will add groups, and groups are an external way that you can organize your list. And what I mean by external is people who are on your subscription form. You can show them the groups that you have in your subscription form, and they can check which group they want to be in. So this is really, really good when you're doing, like when you have a weekly newsletter and a monthly newsletter and you don't want to annoy people. Oh, actually, let's just put it with my clients. So I have a client who blogs every single freaking day, 7 days a week, every single day. And sometimes he blogs 3 times a day.
That's commitment. That's love.
No, that's somebody making a lot of money off their blog.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And he has people that he pays to blog for him. So that's why he does so much. He does his own podcast, but he has people that blog for him.
Okay.
And he's making bank off his blog.
Wow.
But he's had his blog a long time.
Can I meet him now? Seriously. Go ahead.
RV Lifestyle.
RV Lifestyle? Okay.
And just so you know, we're having thunder. So we don't have thunder in California. So just if I lose my power, I have batteries, so I should be fine. But just so you know, it's weather in California. Woo! I'm so excited. You guys are like, who cares? So we have 2 frequencies for him. We have a weekly and a daily. So we send out his blog posts via RSS feed every single day. And then we send out a weekly email that is like 5 pages long that just lists everything. Like, it's so much information he sends, right? So it's really great, but people get sick of getting those blog posts. So we allow them to choose a weekly email instead of just all the emails. So they can do either.
Can I do a screen share of his site really quickly? Or
his site is just horrible, just so you know.
I'm there right now.
I didn't build it.
Go ahead.
But I am going to do a redo of it, just so you know. No.
Okay.
That's all right. It's a bit, no, you can share it.
Okay.
But it is a very famous RV travel site. Yeah. We use Elementor on his site. So he has a lot of Elementor forms on his site, which are super pretty forms.
There's the site that I see right now.
Right.
I'm guessing you helped him with this form right here.
That's an Elementor form, yes. So we'll talk about Elementor forms and look at how pretty that form is. It has a nice background. It's nice and big to put things in. Yes, Elementor forms are awesome. But I don't think you can, there's something that you can't do with Elementor forms, and I have it in my notes. So in groups, we could put groups on there. Groups couldn't get on the pop-up. That was the issue. We could put groups in there and people could choose if they wanted a weekly email or if they want a daily email. He does not want them to choose until they ask to be out of the daily, because he makes a lot of money on ads. That's how he makes money on this website.
Yeah, I
so
see
he
that.
wants to send them the ads every single day. Every day he wants those ads.
Really?
Right?
Making money is so hard through blogging that, like, this, just listening to you talk is like, to me, this is like, I don't want to say it's a unicorn, but you know.
Well, but here's the thing about making money with blogging, the older your site is, like he got in at the beginning of the RV travel thing. So that's why he's making money with it.
Okay.
Nowadays, you'd have to insert yourself into that market, and the market is so saturated, you know?
Okay.
Because you have big monsters like this, not monsters, you have big guys like this that are out there. All right, so those are groups, and you don't have to show the groups on your form. Like, he doesn't show the groups on the form. We just feed them into, they're going to get everything. You can also have groups that choose what they want to hear about. So if your industry, if you do products, if you do services, I'm trying to think of a client that I do this with, and I can't come off the top of my head. But that gives people a lot of personalization features. Right? It's not necessarily personalization. It's giving them the information that they want at the time that they want it. And so you know, he could only send out information about national parks if he wanted to. He could send out information about RV insurance and only send out information about RV insurance. And there's ways that he could individualize everybody's subscription by giving them the topics that they want. So he could choose the groups to give people topics.
Okay.
Like actually me, I do ask people, do you want Mailchimp information or WordPress information? I do that with my clients. So it's not on my website, but mine says weekly and monthly. All right. So that's how you use groups. So they're an external organization. And just to confuse you, you can use groups and hide them. So they're not necessarily so external, they're internal, because some subscription forms will only use groups. Some subscription forms will use groups and tags. I've never seen a subscription form that only uses tags. But the subscription form, they're catching up with Mailchimp using tags. It's been super slow. So a lot of subscription forms will only use groups. So you'll need to hide those groups. So you can use groups like tags if you want to, if the subscription form does not allow you to use tags. Now we're going to go into segments. And segments are how you put an audience together. Segments can include groups, they can include tags, but it's how you put an audience together that you're going to send an email to. You can make a segment and keep that segment all the time and have it automatically be updating. That's the dynamic part of it. Is automatically updating in the background. You don't have to do anything once you've created that segment. It's going to update automatically. So if you're saying everybody who's bought a product, like he would say, everybody who's bought this ebook, that segment in Mailchimp is always updating for him constantly. And we don't have to touch it. So people get groups, tags, and segments mixed up. Just remember, segments are what you send an email to. It's how you create the group of people that you're sending the email to. A group in Mailchimp is a scoop. I don't know what word can I use there?
Categorization, maybe?
Yeah, but I would say tags is more categorization. Well, they're both categorizations. You're right. Both categorizations, but groups you can deal more with topic type categorizations, but right, categorizations is probably groups and tags. So who's still confused?
Can I give an example?
Yeah, perfect.
So for me, a group maybe would be, I have different age groups, for example. Let's say we're college. We have a different age group. So it's like from whatever, this age to or grade level. Like they're in first grade, second grade, third grade, whatever. And then we have the tags that would have the majors, for example.
So here's the only thing about that is you have to think about how do you get that data into Mailchimp? That's the key. How does the data come into Mailchimp? So group is somebody's going to choose that data to put in Mailchimp. A tag is you get to choose that data. So if you have the age ranges or the classes, you would still have to have them choose the specific grade unless you knew. So this is more of a way that you can use tags really well is if you had okay, so let's say your groups are 1st to 3rd grade, 4th to 6th grade, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and 10th through 12th, right? And you had a free opt-in offer for first graders, one for second graders, one for third graders, one for fourth graders, one for fifth graders. Then they could choose which group they want to be in. And then they could go sign up for the opt-in offer. And that opt-in offer is going to tag them as they took the first grader opt-in offer. They took the second grader opt-in offer. And when they take that second grader and that first grader opt-in offer, then you know later on to send them information about first and second graders. And that's how you can get, like, for me, that would be how I could get, if I had one mom that had 4 kids, how am I going to get all that information about all of her kids? So that would be the way to get the information about all the other kids.
So are you saying that the people who say you have the groups option open for it's not just controlled by you, but you have it as options for people to get emails?
To choose.
Yes. To choose. So when they choose, it automatically becomes tagged. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's it's going to be called, they're automatically put in a group, but yes, they automatically have a tag put on their record that says they're a member of this group. Mm-hmm. And then we have tag that gets tagged on their record that they're a member of this tag. Yeah. Part of the issue with Mailchimp is they use words that are verbs and nouns at the same time. And so it gets to be confusing. Segmentation is that way. Tagging is that way also. All right. Do we want to start on the form stuff now? Is that good? Okay.
We can. Okay, so let me introduce our sponsor. Okay, our sponsor for Women of WordPress New York City is Kinsta. You know, we've been having our meetups remotely for the last year, and Kinsta stepped up and allowed us to pivot from in-person meetups to having meetups online. They've been really generous because so many meetups are trying to figure out what to do and how to serve members, and they've made it possible for us to do that. So truly appreciative of them. And Kinsta is a premium managed WordPress hosting. They're powered by Google Cloud. They're lightning fast with lightning fast load times, 24/7 expert support. They're scalable for mission critical sites. You can try a demo of their dashboard at demo.kinsta.com. I'll drop it in. And Kinsta's, you know, their support team is made up of WordPress developers who contribute to core and other open source projects, and they provide top-notch service. And so truly appreciative to Kinsta for their support. Can't repeat it enough because it means that we're not coming out of pocket, which is something that a lot of meetups do. So we're able to do this, and it's phenomenal. Just to let you know, Women of WordPress New York City seeks to serve the women of our community, and so that's cisgender and those who identify as women. We have a lot of men in the community who want to attend our events, but over time we've realized that we just, you know, inhabit like a meeting space differently. Today was great. There's an organic conversation that came out of it. And we really almost, you know, I didn't want to stop it. And I don't think, you know, we should have. So it was wonderful for us to continue going on, talking and having that conversation. And we've just noticed over time, it takes a little bit longer for us to do that. We normally start chatting in the chat function, and then we start having conversations. And so, you know, it's great to give us that space, because when I've noticed that when we do have meetups with men, they start asking questions and conversation right away. And because it takes us longer, just having seen it, by the time we start talking, the event is over. And so that's really like a commitment that we have to remove that from occurring during some of our meetup events. We have meetup events that are open to men and also for developers, but this is uniquely for us. And the idea came out of a WordCamp where we had a panel of speakers, of women speakers, who just expressed the need, or they felt there was a need for a space like this. And, you know, just saw it on Twitter and created it. Lisa Lead and Meryl and I are the organizers, the co-organizers for this. And we just want to thank you for joining us. And I'll let Meryl, take the next
Okay,
portion.
well, I wanted to, we're very, very grateful that Amy has agreed to speak to our group, and I'm going to just tell you a little about her. So for over 10 years, Amy has been taking email marketing out of the hands of business owners who are already juggling too many tasks. Not only is she a verified Mailchimp partner and expert, she also provides hands-on email training. When it comes to speaking, Amy is a natural. After all, she started the Carlsbad, am I saying that right?
Carlsbad.
WordPress meetup. Amy is in her element when showing WordPress users how to optimize their forms, perfect their lead generation, and make their email marketing perform. When she's not training clients on how to best create their business funnel, she spends time with her husband, a minister in Carlsbad, reads books with her grandkids, and RVs around the country. Say hi to Amy on Twitter, and I'm sure Amy will put those links in the chat. Okay. Thank you, Amy. So we look forward to hearing you
Hi,
talk.
everyone. Let me switch over to
hello.
Switching over, and I use Canvas, so I need to get in presentation mode. All right. So this is all about Mailchimp subscription forms for WordPress. And I started working with WordPress in 2.6.3. When I did this, I went, how can I do this just a little bit different instead of saying the year? And I was like, whoa, that was a long time ago. And then I started working with WordPress full-time in 2.8.5. And I started working with Mailchimp in August of 2010. And it was because of their freemium business model that I started working with them, because I was working with a kids gym and she needed something cheap. So that's what we did was Mailchimp. It was awesome. I am a certified Mailchimp Pro Partner. This is my Pro Partner profile on Mailchimp. This is me with Ben Chestnut, who is the CEO of Mailchimp, right after I was crying all over him and thanking him for being able to eat and have a business because of him. I run the Carlsbad WordPress meetup, and obviously we're virtual. So we'd love to have you join us. And we meet at 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. out here. So it's 10 o'clock your time. So yeah, it's a little late. These are my grandkids. I have 6 of them. A Hufflepuff, a Raven's Claw, a future Jedi, and then all of my dinosaur crew. So tonight we will probably super quickly cover the Mailchimp forms, the HTML forms that Mailchimp has, Elementor pop-ups and forms, Gravity forms, WordPress form plugin makers, and offsite form makers. All right, I need to get the chat up. Okay, and I am going to, Kelly, make sure that I answer your question, because it's a super good question and it's a little bit deep, going to be a little bit deep in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mailchimp's forms first. Caveat on all of this is just don't use them. They're not good forms. So there is only one form per audience. It's the first type of forms that they have is a hosted form. It's available from a link, and it's a EAP-URL link. So the irreverentness of Mailchimp in the very beginning is they made a EAP, monkey sound link. It's pretty cool. They do not have robust styling or settings. Nothing is robust about Mailchimp forms. If you know CSS, you can style them a bit, but honestly, there's so many form options out there. Just don't. It makes people crazy, Mailchimp forms. They also have embedded forms, which is you have to get a piece of code from Mailchimp and put that into your website. Usually you use a widget to embed that code. You don't even put it into like a hook area. You don't put it into the header. No, you put it into a widget. And if you see a form, if you choose a form to use for Mailchimp and you see that they're getting the HTML code from Mailchimp, run super fast, because that's an obsolete way of doing things. You want to hook up to Mailchimp via API, if at all possible. Mailchimp has pop-up forms. They actually have pretty pop-up forms, but they're limited. They have an exit intent on them, which exit intent does not work on mobile. And they have a time delay, but you can't tell Mailchimp how often to show the form. You can only do a time delay and the exit. And they have several time delay options, but it's just, with so many forms out there, there's just better choices, but they're super pretty forms. I do love the pop-up forms. And then they have landing pages. And if you have a website, don't use a Mailchimp landing page, use a landing page on your website, because send the traffic to your website instead of sending them to Mailchimp. Promote your website instead of promoting Mailchimp. Yeah, I don't really, I'm not a big fan of Mailchimp forms at all. And I've used them, but if I ever use them, I'm very leery about them. So somebody asked me to use Pop-Up Ally, which is, it's an older, Natalie Lissiere. I mean, she's a big in the WordPress community. She's been in the WordPress community for a long time. She did Access Ally. Her forms are horrible because they connect via that HTML code. You cannot get any tags. You cannot get any groups. Just don't use them. Just don't use it. All right. So now we're going to talk about Elementor. And the reason why we're talking about Elementor is because it's one of the most used builders out there. I like Beaver Builder. And then there's Oxygen. And then there's Gutenberg. So I'm going to go from Beaver Builder to Gutenberg as soon as I can wrap my brain around moving. It's not an easy thing. So, but I use a lot of Elementor for my clients because I have a lot of clients that come in with Elementor on their site. And these embedded forms can be created as a template in the template area of Elementor and then used globally on the site, which is super nice. That way you can get a really pretty form and it's going to look the same on every single page that you put it on. And you can tell the template where to insert it. So that's super nice. You can put a form at the bottom of each blog post, which I suggest that you do. On RV Lifestyle, they put a link to a form. I don't think we have the form on each blog post. I could have put it on there already, but yeah, he's pretty old school with his stuff. So he likes links to everything. Every page has like 1,000 links on it. I'm constantly fixing links are too close together. All right. So with the Elementor, that pop-up can be amazing. They have one of the best pop-ups I've ever seen because they're so pretty. And to get the timing, oh my goodness, there are so many settings for Elementor. It is amazing what you can do with the timing for an Elementor pop-up. What you can do for the slide in on Elementor, how different pages can have different forms. Oh, it's beautiful. And it's super, super complex to get into the granularness of it all. So one thing about RV Lifestyle is he does ads, right? Mediavine, a lot of JavaScript. So we had a lot of conflicts to begin with, but using Elementor, I was able to get down to the very bottom of everything and get his form popping up beautifully and not covering his whole page and not covering his ads, which was, he was having a fit about on mobile, that we were covering his ads. So we were able to get exactly what needed to be done and pop it up and not have, because he has a lot of older people that visit his site, they get very annoyed with pop-ups. So we were able to get the pop-up so it wasn't really annoying to them. So Elementor is beautiful with pop-ups. So if you use Elementor, it's awesome. You can use groups, you can use tags with Elementor. Elementor is super flexible. Gravity forms, my very favorite. They are the best forms for everything. You can do any type of form in Gravity Forms. You can do subscription forms, contact forms, intake forms, all sorts of forms of Gravity Forms. Which you can't do, you know, the other ones we were talking about were just subscription forms. Now this one, you have more flexibility with this type of form. And Gravity Forms, you're going to need the upgraded Gravity Forms, because there's an add-in for Mailchimp to feed the data to Mailchimp. You actually have to go create a feed in Gravity Forms that feeds the data through to Mailchimp, and it's a premium feature. One of the things that I love about Gravity Forms is it has, oh yeah, and I lost the word. Where you can ask it to only do this when this happens. Oh my God, I can't think of the word. Anyway, you can ask Gravity Forms to do something when something else happens. So on your regular form with Gravity, you can put a checkbox down at the bottom that says, and would you like to be on our newsletter? Would you like to receive our newsletter? And you can put that on all of your contact forms. And I can't remember the word. Oh my God. Sorry. And Zaps. Zaps can be used with Gravity Form. Zapier. I don't know if you guys know about Zapier. It's awesome. And Kelly, this is where I'm gonna, yes, you can do pop-ups with Gravity Forms. You're going to need to use a pop-up maker with Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms does not natively do a pop-up, so you're going to need to use something like Pop-Up Maker and then put the form in there. So Kelly, I'm trying to get back to there. Yeah, Elementor's challenging when you're just beginning. It took me a while to get it, and honestly, it's just practice. Okay, so Kelly, I'm trying to get back to your question.
I can just
there it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you need to change the subscribers tag based on their site membership changes. So there is no way to do that like easy inside of Mailchimp. What are you using a membership plugin for the member changes?
Yes, we're using Paid Membership Pro, and the use case where we would have to change the tag is probably very, very rare, but
okay,
I just would like to be prepared.
Oops. Okay, so what you do is you use a Zap.
Oh, okay.
A Zapier Zap. And if Zapier doesn't have it, go look at Automate.io. Go look at Integromat.
Okay.
Those patches works extremely well with Mailchimp and like Gravity Forms and a bunch of different software.
Great.
So you can do a lot with that. You can add people in, you can add people out, but the only way to remove a tag in Mailchimp is to put people into an automated sequence. And then at the end of the automated sequence, or after one of the emails in an automated sequence, you can remove everybody into a tag. I mean, it's just, it's crazy that Mailchimp doesn't have that. And believe me, we have asked, but it's Zapier, or one of those programs like Zapier is going to solve your problem.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And for everybody who doesn't know what Zapier is, it's really just a patch. It's a patch from one software to another that will complete a task, an action that you cannot complete necessarily with the two softwares themselves. Zapier is amazing. I love Zapier. Can you tell? All right, WordPress plugins. So Mailchimp for WordPress. I'm not a huge fan of Mailchimp for WordPress. It's a form that it's one of those forms that people pick up quickly, because it's when you type into the plugins, Mailchimp for WordPress or Mailchimp WordPress or Mailchimp, it comes up. It's one of the first ones that comes up. So you only get one form on the free version. So it's just about the same as using a Mailchimp form. And then if you want to get additional forms, like if you want to have an opt-in or more than one opt-in, you would need to buy the premium version. Yikes, easy form for Mailchimp. This was created by a WordPress developer. She's out of Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia. Could be Pittsburgh. It's a P name from Pennsylvania. I think it's Philadelphia. There is limited styling on the free version, but you can style it with CSS if you have some CSS ability. And if you don't, Google it because it's out there. The premium version has a form customizer, which you can plug in. This is the form maker that most Mailchimp partners suggest, because you can have more than one form on the free version. So when I'm in the partner forum, everybody's saying, oh yeah, just go use Yikes, just go use Yikes. And I like it. The issue I had with it was a couple of years ago, I used it. They had a pop-up, an ability to make a pop-up form, and the pop-up was not as responsive as I would have liked. And it may be better now. Opt-in Monster, which is a very popular form. It's a premium version. I mean, you can't, there's basically not a free version for Opt-in Monster, but it has a lot of really cool form types. It has a placemat, which a placemat is when a full screen comes down and covers the page. And it has, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? Or so you know who uses this is Neil Patel. Do you want to improve your conversion rates? Yes. Fill in the form. No. I have all the leads I need, or something like that. And you actually have to click yes or no to be able to get rid of this placemat. But that's Opt-in Monster. And Syed is the person who built Opt-in Monster, and he was a WordPress developer, and he's been in the community for a really long time. He also does, he also bought a analytics plugin from Yoast. So he now owns that some analytics plugin. I don't use analytics plugins in my sites. All right, off-site form makers. So actually, these are the easiest to use, and they're the prettiest out of the box, and you can get them to do just about anything you need because they're not built in WordPress. They're built off-site. They're built in a completely different website, a third-party website, not Mailchimp, not your website, a third-party website. So the issue is these will slow down your site. So your site has to go off-site, fetch that form, and bring it back, right? It won't fetch the form until your site has loaded. But when you're looking at site speed, Google's going to call it out. So you have to look at weighing, if your site doesn't have very many plugins, you can get away with it. If your site has a ton of plugins, don't use this. But they are super pretty and easy to put together. I use Mailmunch on a lot of sites. I use the free version only. I've never paid for Mailmunch ever. And you can get 5 forms on that free version. And I can make their free version pop up, slide in, look exactly like their paid versions. So yeah. Pop-up Smart. I just started using this one the other day because I'm using Webflow. I have a client come in with a Webflow site. So if you ever fix anything on Wix and Weebly and Webflow, and I've never used it on GoDaddy. I don't know how it would work on GoDaddy. I try not to work on sites other than WordPress, but I've been getting a lot of them lately. All right, that's me. Let's go to questions. I'm going to stop sharing. Can you use both Mailmunch with Mailchimp? Yes, Mailmunch, while they have a email capacity and a landing page capacity, I never use that. I always use Mailchimp. Here's the reason why. Mailchimp has 60% of the market share. So Mailchimp is the gorilla in the email marketplace, right? So there are so many integrations for Mailchimp. It's just like WordPress. There's so many integrations for WordPress because the majority of websites work on WordPress, right? So everybody uses Mailchimp. 60% of people using email service providers use Mailchimp. So that's, everything's going to hook up with Mailchimp. That's one of the reasons to use it, because everybody hooks up with Mailchimp. But Mailmunch, only the form, not their email service. All right. What is the difference between a contact form and Mailchimp? All right, so a contact form is on your site so that your people can contact you. It's not a subscription form. You cannot automatically put people who have filled out your contact form on your newsletter. The only way you can do that is if you have a little question at the bottom with a checkbox that says, would you like to be on my newsletter? Would you like to receive my newsletter? And that checkbox has to be unchecked. Now we're really tight with spam law, so that checkbox has to be unchecked. You can't automatically send them your newsletter against the law. So ePearl, it's just a link that Mailchimp gives you that you can link out to from your website. Actually, I use it on Facebook. It's the form that if you connect Mailchimp and Facebook, it's the form that will be on your Facebook page, is that ePearl link. Oh, and so if you have a subscription form, that subscription form also has to say, subscribe to my newsletter, very first thing, subscribe to my email list, very first thing, and get my free opt-in offer, and get my free email course, and sign up for my free webinar. But the very first thing needs to be sign up for my newsletter, because you could have Europeans signing up, or Californians even signing up for your newsletter, or signing up for that free opt-in offer. And our GDPR and California data protection is that you have to know straight up that you're going to get the newsletter subsequently. So it's, yeah, just put it, why am I just noticing my earrings? Yes, they are. They're Mailchimps. I made them.
It's so cool.
I have all these friends that are partners and they're all like, oh, when are you making them for me? And they're shrinky dinks. So we're redoing our kitchen. My oven's broken, so I can't make any.
Oh, wow.
I'm confused by clicking the opt-in box. The contact form will automatically integrate with Mailchimp. So no, your contact form does not automatically integrate with Mailchimp, just that question. That's why Gravity Forms is good. They have that. Oh, I still can't. Does anybody know what that's called? Conditional. It's a conditional statement. That's what it is. I'm so proud of myself. It's a conditional statement. So when you check that box, then it will send Gravity Forms. You're checking the conditional statement. Yes, send this email to Mailchimp. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Did I miss one? Just yell out. And I really breezed through that super fast.
You said 60% or everybody uses Mailchimp, and you said, but only the forms, not the email?
Oh, no, that's Mailmunch.
Oh, Mailmunch.
Yes.
Not Mailchimp.
Yes.
60%.
Mailmunch only use the forms. Mailchimp, 60% of people who use an email platform use Mailchimp as their email platform. So that's why Mailchimp has the most integrations.
Is that different with businesses? I mean, big businesses like Verizon wouldn't be using Mailchimp, so it's not that number's not in it.
Yeah,
you would be surprised. There's a lot of huge businesses that use Mailchimp. There's a lot of huge businesses. Not that you would know, but I have a couple of clients, WorthPoint, they have over 100,000 email addresses on Mailchimp. It's not like it's nothing. A lot of e-commerce platforms use Mailchimp. I'm not a fan of Mailchimp and e-commerce. I would go with Klaviyo if it was me. But well, there's a lot of big platforms that use Mailchimp, surprisingly enough.
well, didn't Mailchimp, like with this whole separation from Shopify, that changed the e-commerce world a bit, right?
Yeah, that was just a little bit. Yeah, they were just like, no, I don't like you. No, I don't like you. No, I don't like you. It's like they're fourth graders.
Yeah.
If you use Mailchimp, does it still? So let me show you my website, and not to promote myself, but just to show you my website so you can see a contact form versus a subscription form, because it seems like there's.
Go for it. Do a screen share.
All right. Now I gotta find okay, here's my subscription form. This is actually Mailmunch down here. And did you see it was waiting for Mailmunch? It had to wait a long time for it to populate. It's just really nice. I have like 4 different form makers on my site. I'm really bad. On my contact form, see how it's just contact. But I have this little thing down here that says, do you want to get Mailchimp tutorials and info? This is a Gravity form. Yes. Now this will feed through this information. Oh, and there you go. There's my pop-up. This will feed this information through to Mailchimp.
Was that a Mailchimp pop-up?
That was not, and we should have a Mailchimp pop-up soon. Except I turned it off once today and it may not pop up because I already turned it off today.
So which
that was
that?
That was a Mailmunch pop-up.
So the form you just showed us, that was the entire thing was a gravity form.
This entire thing is a gravity form.
Great.
And see, it's not as pretty. Like this is pretty. This is not pretty. It's, you can't, I'm not a coder, and you can do more with CSS than I can, but I don't need this contact form to look pretty. And when I need CSS, I usually do. Let me show you my blog.
What do you think about Calendly? It's a form that you can embed.
I love Calendly. I don't necessarily like their form to embed.
Okay.
But because they have that great thing on the side. So, and the thing I really love about it is you're supporting a Black-owned business.
Exactly.
When you purchase from Calendly.
Yeah, that's one reason I've like kept their subscription, to support them.
And I've looked at all-in-one, like get my email reader, my social media, my accounting. I've looked at all-in-one solutions for a business for that. Like I looked at Zoho One, and they want to give you a calendar embed like that. There's a lot of them that want to do that with when you have a CRM like that.
Okay.
And they're just ugly. Calendly's really clean. I used to use Book Like a Boss, but Calendly's really clean.
It's very clean.
It seems like a lot of social media people, when I attend different kinds of Zooms, it's not really Zooms, but webinars, a lot of them use that, and is really big on LinkedIn. And I was surprised because I posted the story. I didn't know it was a Black-owned business. I just posted a story about the guy, like a couple months ago. So
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, and you can accept payments through the Calendly form that you embed.
Yeah, a Book Like a Boss was a little bit slicker that way, but not that much that it's that much of a pain. Like I have a ton of intake forms that come in. You fill out a Calendly. You fill out Calendly for an appointment, and then you get forms, and I use a bunch of intake forms, and I send forms to people. Here, fill this out with your email stuff, and I send a lot of those kind of forms. So Calendly works well with those forms. Okay, and so this widget, this is a Mailchimp widget. So see how it's really not attractive? Not at all. It's almost as bad as a gravity form, but it did bring in, this is Beaver Builder with Astra, and it did bring in the default button color. So I was happy with that, because usually you have to manually change the button color in Mailchimp forms.
So,
okay, what is Astra? Astra is a theme. It's a really flexible theme. It's a really nice flexible theme. It works with Beaver, it works with Elementor, and it works with Gutenberg. And it has a lot of nice ability to, it allows you to do accessibility a little bit better. It allows you to do schema a little bit better because of how it was coded. Don't ask me particulars. I don't know all of that. Just know it's a better theme.
I hear you, sister. I hear you.
I get all the info. It goes in there. I understand it all the time. And then when it tries to come out here, it just doesn't necessarily come out.
I understand. No worries, no worries.
Okay, what do I think about Generate Press and Nice. I don't even know what spacious theme is. Generate press. Is that a theme? So
that generate press wasn't my question. But I'll just type mine in the thing. But spacious is a theme just like Astra, and I've had it for a long time. But I was trying to switch to Astra through my staging site, and then I noticed that a lot of my because my website is an actor site, and I noticed that some of my YouTube things that were working before on the staging site, since I switched, it doesn't show up. So I have to rebuild it in space. I have to rebuild it in the staging site with Astra. So I'm glad that I was able to do that because it would have messed up my site.
Yeah, it's just, changing a theme. People are like, oh yeah, you can just change a theme. No, you're rebuilding your site. It is not easy. Yeah. That RV living guy was like, oh yeah, just change my theme. And I'm like,
did he?
Oh, yes. No. I'm like, no, we will rebuild your site because your site is just, we'll rebuild your site, but no, we're not just changing your theme. And the thing about it is Astra is newer technology. So it's like Elementor 2 years ago was cutting edge, right? And everybody was like, Elementor is awesome. And now we're getting into Gutenberg and blocks. And now Gutenberg is being considered a page builder, which I was at that US WordCamp and I said, look, they're getting page builders. Why didn't they just buy out Beaver Builder or Elementor? Why do they have to make it all themselves? Anyway.
I was there when someone got up to ask about how like it would change, page builders, like on a broader level.
And they were like, no. Yes. No, it took over. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't replace themes, but it really hasn't replaced themes. It's kind of interesting.
It's the evolution of Gutenberg, definitely is. I feel like it would be good to have a meetup on Gutenberg, especially with so many
I can give you some ideas on, and I can give you some ideas on people who are really good with Gutenberg.
That would be phenomenal.
Michelle Schulp is an amazing designer, and she does talk about Gutenberg atomic blocks, which is just awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that would be.
But you and I should talk.
Susie said yes. Okay. Looks like we've got it. Looks like we've got someone. Okay. We've got Avis says, all right, deal.
Okay. I'll give you an email. Just don't do it on a Monday.
Okay.
Any advice about formatting Mailchimp emails?
Okay.
All right. So here's the advice. Every email that you send, even though it's in an email reader, is a mini website, right? If you click on that link that up at the top that says view in browser, it becomes a website. Think of your email like a mini website. How do you format a website page? How do you format a blog page? You have a heading. Oh, dude, I'm still sharing. I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about it, but it's good. Like we have a title, we have an image, I have a call out, and then we have headings. Yeah, although my headings are at the bottom. Then we have headings. We have bullet points. Same thing with your emails. Make them easy to read, just like you make blog posts easy to read. If you do the blog post, optimize your images before they go in. Your image in an email should never be more than 600 pixels wide, ever, ever, ever. Oh my goodness, I cannot stress that enough. And don't use 300 pixel resolution. Use 72 because people are not printing this email. They don't need 300 resolution. And in Gmail, you get clipped if you have more than 102 kilobytes, I think is what it is. So a lot of that load can be taken by your images in an email. So optimize those images. No more than 600 pixels wide. because 600 is all an email reader will project an email as. Don't use an 800. People like to break their emails and make them 800 pixels wide. Don't do it. Just don't. No, no, no. And just remember that I told you, no, don't do it. And hear it in your brain when you want to break your email template. On a recommendation, select a consistent URL for each issue of an e-newsletter. No, because that URL will override the last issue. So if you have an archive, well, in Mailchimp, the way they do it is each email has its own URL, right? And yes, there's consistent because they have the it's Mailchimp.imp kind of thing. And then they have the title, and that's basically your URL. That's how Mailchimp is. So if you use the same, that's
not what I meant. So okay. I meant having the issue name, but then being consistent with the issue date. So like, for example, we have a monthly newsletter for one of our.
Oh, got it.
We have the issue name, but then we're very consistent with the naming of, like November 2020, that kind of stuff, because it creates a nice archive and some people actually navigate back sometimes.
Right. And your inbox will create the archive.
Right.
Because your inbox is files by date.
Right. But a lot of people are not aware that this link at the bottom exists where you can actually update your link. So Mailchimp doesn't generate, a gobbledygook kind of URL.
Yes, that's very true. And I make sure I show everybody when I train them. I make sure I show everyone, because you're going to override that. And honestly, a lot of times I will take that view in browser out, because one of the reasons why things go to spam a lot is because it has that type of link. Especially Gmail will look for those types of consistent links to know what to do with an email like that. Oh yeah, and it's also important to know that your emails will be read on mobile. So that RV lifestyle, that's hilarious because he has a 76% desktop open rate. And I was like, no, we need to get this better on mobile, more on mobile. Well, his target audience is 65 plus, because yeah, that's what I said, Avis. A lot of his people who RV are retired. So he has a lot of 65 years and older, and they can't necessarily see on a mobile device. But I said, you know what? The other thing too is they're using their mobile devices and your emails are not mobile friendly. So once we get your emails mobile friendly, we will find your mobile email read rate going up once people see that they're mobile friendly. And that's actually what has happened. But no. Is it true Mailchimp archived is capped at 20 messages? No. Nuh-uh. And you can put that archive on your site. No, I've never seen it capped at 20.
I did some research for, I don't know if you can hear me, sorry. I did some research for a project that we're doing, and they specifically wanted an email archive. And I thought I saw that it was capped at 20, so that's good to know it isn't. The archive is just everything that's been sent out to the public mailing list, right?
It's just a link. If you put email archive, you can actually embed a link that will render that email archive in the website, and it will just be a link. It'll be like the title. So you'll just have a stack of links.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
4
not
years. Huh? Someone just said they had 4 years. That's great. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen it capped at 20. And to be honest with you, I've never looked at it like that. it's never been an issue. So yeah, I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Like, I would be like 95% certain that no, they don't cap at 20. Oh, and Susie says that she has an archive of 4 years of monthly emails. Holy moly, that's a lot of emails there.
That is a lot of emails.
Holy moly, that's like 100. That's a lot of emails, man. All right. Yeah, Kelly, there's a lot of things that Gmail looks at to get, there's a lot of things that you can do to get things through spam filters. That's a whole nother talk. Like, I do that I've done that at WordCamps before, that how to get things through spam filters.
That would be an interesting meetup for sure.
I think there should be an email meetup.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have more questions? I have more than one blog post on that.
On spam.
I have like 3. And I have YouTube videos on it where I just went raving about some stuff. So there you go.
We love a link to that. I'm sure we would come and watch your video and read your blog post.
See if I can find it.
You just gained some readers.
Yeah. Here's one. I have a bunch of different things about spam on my site. So there's not just one thing about spam. Oh, Susie, what you want to know about me is I'm really bad at sending out emails.
Well, it's the shoemaker's kids, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know that book.
Yeah, I think we all probably know that. Okay, here's my website. Well, you got my website in the blog post thing, but there's a lot of things that are spam. First thing, you need to authenticate your domain name with your email provider, right? Put your DNS, yes. Put that little bit of code in your DNS, and yes, super easy. And that's one of the best things you can do. Make sure you have DICM and SPF. And when you authenticate with Mailchimp, those Mailchimp DICMs are going to be added to your domain name. And then there's a ton of other things you can do. Let me see if there's another one. So I have one that's about keeping spam emails addresses off your email list. So I just listened to somebody from somebody from Mailchimp, and they were talking about deliverability, and they talked to Google, and Google Gmail, it talks about how often an email is replied to. Now,
oh, wow.
Does anybody get their business emails replied to? Very few. But the more your business emails are replied to, the higher trust authority you get with Google. So it helps not only your domain name, but it also helps getting those email delivered to the inbox instead of promotions. And only 20% of people use that promotions folder. So it's not even a real big issue. And Gmail hasn't been landing in my promotions folder. No matter how many times I stuff them back in there, they're landing in inbox anyway. So I don't even think it works anymore. So getting replies, ask for replies, ask for people to email you back. That's like golden. Okay, here's my.
That's what Gmail
that's the same one,
though, right?
But you would think that Yahoo, Hotmail, or MSN Yahoo is going to do the same thing. Microsoft, that's Outlook. But if you're using Outlook for web, that's going to be the same thing as basically MSN, right? So there's not that many providers when you look at it overall arching that are doing that kind of stuff. It's like Yahoo, Microsoft with MSN and Bing, and what do they call it now? Edge.
Edge, yeah.
Yeah, there's not an email reader for Mozilla or Firefox, so we don't have to worry about them, but Gmail is Google. Yeah. So there's only 3 that you really have to worry about, and Bing follows pretty close with Google search engine tactics and search engine rules. So you would think that their emails would follow pretty close with the rules. You know, I would think they're stealing each other's code. That would be me.
I'm confused, but what if somebody has, I mean, don't a lot of people have their own mail servers?
Yeah, I have my own mail servers, but we're talking about a reader. A mail server is the host for the email address. You have to read your email somewhere, right? And the reader is what spams. And your mail server can spam, but your reader spams also.
I see.
And a lot of people use Google as their email server.
Client, yeah.
RSS feed question. Go, Avis. I love RSS feed. It's my favorite because it's
So
you get lazy.
So I had never even really given any thought to an RSS feed before, but I recently started a podcast and I actually added put it on my website, on my actual acting website, because I do voiceovers and stuff. So I want people to hear that and relate it. So I've been using an RSS feed. So, but you mentioned an RSS feed for Mailchimp. So explain to me like the best way, because I added a Mailchimp like subscribe button on the podcast page, but I added it at the bottom just in case somebody wants to subscribe to see what I'm doing as an actor as well. So how do you use that for Mailchimp?
So on Mailchimp, the way you can get an RSS feed to send out emails automatically. Yeah. That's my favorite because it's so lazy. You set it once and then you never do it again. There's an actual email template that you have to set up. And it's this.
And wait, and I use Elementor. So just in case you know of something.
Nope. You have to go to Mailchimp, set up a template with an RSS feed block in it. Here's the only issue that I don't know with podcasting. If you have an RSS feed for your podcast, emails do not allow you to send audio files. Emails do not allow you to send video files. You can embed YouTube, but it's not playing in your email. It just looks like it's playing in your email, but it's actually playing on YouTube. So with a podcast, you can't send an audio file. So I'm not really sure what it would look like rendering on your RSS feed.
So the question is just about, not about the podcast. I was just saying that that's the first time that I really gave a second thought about RSS feed, but I'm talking about for the emails, because I want to send out a newsletter like with stories about my union, or stories about some casting or just information that other actors and people that may just be interested in what I have to say. And I just wanted to know how that RSS feed work. I'm not worried so much about the podcast because it will take care of itself with its own RSS feed. I'm just talking about for email, for Mailchimp.
So you have to go in, make a completely separate email for the RSS feed. It's an automated email because it's going to send automatically. You set it up and then you never touch it again. It's so amazing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh yeah. And so there's a block of code that Mailchimp's going to give you to set up, to insert in the RSS feed. I'm looking to see if I have an RSS feed. I know I probably have one on YouTube. And I'm looking to see if it's on my website.
And also what might be helpful, because what I'm going to have, I've been transcribing them. I just started the podcast. So I only have like 3 episodes up, and I'm editing other interviews now. But I know that for SEO purposes, it's really good to have the a transcription of whatever it is. So I don't know if that's something that may be included, but maybe it's not, and I can just still leave it separately, because again, I'm talking about 2 different RSS feeds on 2 different things.
Okay, so say that again just a little bit differently, because I didn't completely catch it. Sorry.
So when you were talking about, because I'm really not talking about any audio files or video files, I'm just specifically talking about Mailchimp, and if somebody subscribes to the newsletter. But
right. Okay. So there's no problem with sending out an RSS feed of just your blog posts without a problem. And if you embed your podcast into that blog post, it will send out the blog post. It will send out a link to that blog post. It'll send out, you can either send out the whole blog post, or you can send out a excerpt of the blog post. Excerpts of blog posts don't naturally have images going through the RSS feed. There's a plugin that you can use, RSS feed images. The lady's name is Robin. And there was one featured images via RSS. That one it's been buggy lately. But the one by Robin has been really good lately. And I can show you what one will look like, and then it may be able to, I don't know, how much time do we have left? I know I'm like so sucking up time.
It's organic. It's organic. I'd say, how much more time do you want to give yourself? Because it's like 8:35.
See, it's only 5:30 here, so I don't need to go to bed for a couple hours.
All right. Well, how many folks do we have? 11 folks that are riveted, honestly. Only.
Awesome. Let me share my screen really quick.
I think we've only lost 3 people. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, folks are like.
All right. Okay, so this is an RSS feed newsletter. What we added to the newsletter in this template was we added, hey, fellow travelers, look what we just published. Then I put a block in that had code that has Mailchimp go out to WordPress when on a schedule, when it's triggered, and then suck in the RSS feed. And it sucks in one post. This day he only had 1 post. And then it has his last 5 posts down here. Now, if we go to his website, you'll see it looks pretty good, but he has an excerpt. And usually this image won't come through an excerpt. So we actually had to use a plugin in his site to get this image. Excerpt RSS feeds do not natively send through images. If you have a full post feed, it will natively send through the image. So we have to force it to send through an image. And the only image it will send through is the featured image. It won't send through images embedded in the post when it's an excerpt. And I would have to go look. But you can see it does a little bit and then it just links out. And look, these are him. Dude, this guy is so on top of it. These are all affiliate links. does so well with this. He's pretty awesome, this guy. He's on top of it. Totally.
Does he have a team that's working with him on this? He does.
Oh yeah. He has a business manager. He has like 3 bloggers. He's got me for his website management. And I actually make a bunch of images for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. Your Susie's brother told him about that site last week. So yeah, he has a team. He has a whole team. But he's been blogging since that site's been up since like 2013, 2012.
Okay.
So that's part of the reason why. Yeah. And then I saw that do we have more questions? No.
Yeah.
So
have any more
Avis, did that answer your questions on the RSS feed?
I'm just gonna have to play around with it. That's how I figure out. That's how I figure out my stuff. I just play around with it.
So if you want to send me a test, I'm happy to help and show you. I always do a custom RSS feed. I don't do the excerpt. I don't do the full. I do a little bit of a custom hybrid kind of thing. And I don't know exactly what the plugin is. I could sign into a site and see what plugin it is that we use. But just so you know, these image plugins have a tendency to need to be switched out about every 2-3 years, because they just, they're pretty free plugins a lot of times, and people don't keep up with making sure they work with the latest version. Oh, what is it? Where is it? Send images to RSS. And the lady's name is Robin Cornett. And I think she's out of the Atlanta area. If I remember correctly, I met her when I went to WordCamp Atlanta. So.
Thank you very much. I took a screenshot of your end, your end screen. So, and I too love Canva.
Canva is my jam, man. I love me some Canva. And I pay for my Canva, so I use it a lot. I could do a lot with it, man. Susie's shaking her head. No Canva.
So I have Ninja Forms and I haven't ventured into using it yet. Only because I have Calendly, and Calendly is really all I need for a contact form. What are your thoughts on Ninja Form, and what are they best for?
Okay, so Ninja Form is a contact form, right? If you're going to use a subscription form with Ninja Forms, you're going to need a plugin to add it. If you're going to use Mailchimp, you're going to need some kind of.
Because I haven't actually used it. New York City, like for our holiday party, Ninja Forms was like super generous. Like they were a sponsor for it, and
nice.
ended up like winning like
a free form.
Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I think for a limited period of time till like the end of the year or so. I know though, but I know. Like, that's pretty awesome. So I'm trying to think about like, I should practice using it before that time is up, but I don't really know what to really use it for.
I don't use Ninja Forms.
Okay.
I think I've tried to use it in the past, and it did not integrate well with Mailchimp.
Okay.
I know one that doesn't integrate well with Mailchimp is I was just reading it today. Calavera forms.
Okay.
They're supposed to integrate really well with Mailchimp, and they don't fix it. It broke. They didn't fix it. So,
Caldera forms.
Caldera. Don't use Caldera forms. Sorry, Caldera forms. I'm sorry, Josh. But they sold it, and when they sold it, they don't fix it like they should.
Okay.
So, and Gravity Forms. Yeah, Susie's right. Gravity Forms is the best form out there. Sorry.
Okay.
They're the most robust. They're the best supported. We used to be a Genesis shop. My husband works with me. My husband. I used to work for him, and now he works for me.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, we started using Gravity Forms when we were using Genesis, and we've just never gone away from them. They have good developers, really good developers, and they can just do so much. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, Gravity Forms.
I know I should have a Gravity Forms shirt, right? And earrings, Gravity Forms earrings.
Send in Blue still around? I had them at one time on my photography website, and but because they didn't keep, I guess they didn't keep people's information. That's why I was looking at it with a friend of mine, and so, but I don't know if they.
Uh-oh, Avis, I just lost you.
Oh, I was finished. I was just asking, is Send Blue still around?
Yeah, Send in Blue is still around. They're a good option. There's nothing wrong with Send in Blue.
They had more free email options. They had up to like Mailchimp had, just say they had like 1,000. I don't recall what it was, but the free option, and Send in Blue or whatever. They might have changed that.
Well, right now the free email option, because Mailchimp's free email option is so limited, like you can't schedule an email, which is stupid. But you didn't hear me say that. Is MailerLite. It's a good option. I'm not. I don't hate their site. I don't hate all their stuff. It's just not as stable as I would like it to be. I have quite a few clients on MailerLite, and I keep on losing accounts, and I email them and they're like, oh yeah, here it is. And it automatically just pops up again after it was lost, and caused clients huge amount of stress.
Wow.
So, yeah. So there you go. But MailerLite is like, that's the free alternative to Mailchimp right now. And they have really great deliverability. They have better deliverability than Mailchimp. So they're keeping their servers really clean. Like Send in Blue, I think, has better deliverability than Mailchimp. Yes, I am active on Twitter, Avis.
I think you just want to fan. I think you just want to fan Amy.
And the reason why I'm genuine Amy Hall is because there are 700,000 Amy Halls in the United States alone.
Really?
Make sure your Amy Hall is a genuine Amy Hall.
Is that what it is? Genuine Amy Hall?
Genuine Amy Hall. I could type that. You know what? If I've been typing, it's been not going.
Original
I'm gonna stalk her. I'm gonna stalk Amy.
I told you. What did you hold up? Repeat that. Did you say? I don't want to put words in your mouth. What did you say, Amy?
I said I'm going to stalk Amy on Twitter.
I thought I heard that word, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to, say that.
That's fine. I love Twitter. It's my favorite. It's been boring lately.
It's one of my favorites too, and I'm going to sign up for your newsletter, especially since it has been, especially since the article. Since I'm trying to use Mailchimp a little more, I do want to read up on whatever you're saying about it and how to do things, because I need to get busy again back on the website and with my, with my forms and things too. So take that.
Yeah, I should put my YouTube channel in there, but I have to go look it up. Sorry.
No worries. I'll send if you send the links to me, I'll share it with the email that I send out.
And I don't have social media on my site. So I have to go out and look at it. It's mine is either Mailchimp Help or Genuine Amy Hall, but I think it's Mailchimp Help.
I invite anyone who wants to drop their email, their links, their social media or their links in, to definitely do that. Mine is I am Winstina. I am not consistent. So, don't look hoping for consistency.
I think we're connected on Twitter.
Well, I'll have to check. I am definitely not consistent with social media.
I haven't been consistent lately. It's been, hello, how can it be April 1st already?
I know.
It's like April Fool's, it's April Fool's Day.
Yeah. It's going quickly. And today came with a gift. It came with snow for a lot of people.
And here I'm like,
and
oh my God,
are you
we're
on
having
LinkedIn,
thunder. I am on LinkedIn. I think
she'll stalk you there too.
Okay, Winstina, don't put my business in the streets.
Well, no, you just said you were gonna stalk her on Twitter, so I was just
that was on Twitter.
That was on Twitter. Okay. That was just
now you blasted me.
Avis, I love you, Avis. All right, okay, all right, y'all. See what happens. I was just making a logical, All right,
you're right, Winstina, but you didn't need to tell it to the group.
Forgive me, my darling Avis. Forgive me.
All right, I'm trying to find my profile for you. So I'm Genuine Amy Hall on LinkedIn too.
I love it. The consistency. That's nice.
No, it's either Mailchimp Help or Genuine Amy Hall. And I had been some for too long, and I couldn't change them to Mailchimp Help. And then, I hate social media. So, all right, very cool. Any other questions? Now we're just chit-chatting and having a good time.
I just thought of a question. Do you ever deal with email migration from one server to some kind of other?
Like from Constant Contact to Mailchimp?
No, this is from like a hosting server, which has a website, and the mailbox is on the server, but it has to go somewhere else. No?
Nope, I don't deal with that kind of email.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
I would be bald.
Yeah, no one likes to take that.
No, it's horrible. I wish that I could find somebody who did that kind of stuff, because I would give them jobs every single day. But no, especially Gmail, no.